All right, so I'm going to do a quick review video on trigonometric functions. Trigonometric functions are just ratios, all right? A ratio, just a comparison between two quantities. And so when we talk about right triangles, when we talk about trigonometry, we're talking about comparing sides to one another, side lengths to one another, and how they compare to each other can tell us a lot about the angle. Okay, so really when we're trying to compare these ratios, when we talk about angle A and we're comparing the opposite side to the hypotenuse, we're just trying to find what that ratio is. And that ratio can tell us how big that angle is if we go backward in our calculator. Back in the old days, I had to do this by finding it in a book with a big long table. You don't have to do that anymore. Calculators do that for you. So let's talk about the sides of the right triangle. Remember, we already knew that the big long slanty side across from the right angle, that's our hypotenuse. And if we're referring to angle A here, the side that's opposite is the side that opens up from that angle all the way across from that angle. Okay, and then the side adjacent is the side that's right next to where that angle is that helps create that angle with the hypotenuse. Okay, so for angle A, this side right here, that's one of the legs or the rays of that angle is your adjacent side, and this side way down here is the opposite. So I'm going to go ahead and erase that information. You might want to take that down, go back in the video and rewrite it, but I'm going to get rid of this just for right now. And I'm going to give this some actual values. And over here are our trigonometric functions. We have sine. The sine of the angle is the opposite side compared to the hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent compared to the hypotenuse, and tangent is the opposite compared to the adjacent side. So right now I'm just going to talk about this angle here. We know that this is the right angle, and this will be another angle that we'll deal with later. I want to use this idea. We'll call this side length 5 units. We don't care how big those units are. We just care about that being 5. This down here, we'll call it 3 whole units there, okay? And last but not least, we'll have the hypotenuse, and we'll just say for our purposes today that it's 7 units long. It's really not. We would have to use Pythagorean theorem to do it, but I just want you to know that for our purposes, let's just use these numbers for right now. If I want to find the sine, I'll say the sine of angle A. All right, so we look up here at angle A, and the sine, we say, is comparing the opposite side to the hypotenuse. So that's going to be opposite over hypotenuse. And so let's take those numbers. The side opposite of angle A, all the way down here, is 3. So we'll give that a 3. Okay, so far so good, right? And then we'll say, well, it's compared to the length of the hypotenuse, which is 7. Okay, so we have that, and we're so far so good. Now we're going to talk about the cosine of angle A, and that is the adjacent side, the length of the adjacent side compared to the hypotenuse. And that's going to be, what's the length of the adjacent side? That's 5. Not giving myself very much room, am I? All right, there's 5 compared to the length of the hypotenuse, which is 7. So the adjacent side is right here. And that's 5 compared to the hypotenuse, that one right there. And that's 7. And last but certainly not least, tangent of angle A is comparing the opposite to the adjacent. And we know, because we did it before, that the length of the opposite side was 3. Remember, angle A, opposite from angle A is 3. And then the adjacent side, right next to that angle, is 5. So that's what we have, and that's going back in time and really solidifying our trigonometric ratios. Any more questions on that? Go ahead and send me a message. I think this is going to help you solidify. I'll post another video tomorrow where we'll talk about the angle down here using these same numbers. Actually, I'll probably post it in a couple of minutes, but I'm going to compare these from angle B down here. See you guys.